the fuel additive in your garage cost under $12 and claims to clean injectors, it probably did nothing. Most bottles contain under 2% active cleaner, far too weak for hardened carbon. I spent 6 months reviewing safety sheets, lab analyses, and SAE testing on every major brand. Once you see what the chemistry actually requires, I guarantee you will never put the wrong bottle in your tank again. 5 fake claims, the 1 chemical that removes carbon, and 8 products mechanics trust. Stay until number 1. Deliberately kept off AutoZone shelves because it is too aggressive for regular use. Seafoam motor treatment in the gas tank. Seafoam has been around since the 1940s. The smoke videos have earned it a reputation that most people never question. Someone pours it in, watches a cloud roll out the tailpipe, and assumes that cloud is dissolved carbon leaving the engine. It is not. A gas chromatograph analysis by a fuels chemist identified Seafoam's formula as isopropyl alcohol, a petroleum distillate carrier, and light mineral oil. No polyethylamine, no meaningful detergent chemistry of any kind. The alcohol burns faster than regular gasoline, which produces the smoke and the brief sensation of a smoother engine. Faster burning alcohol is not the same thing as dissolved carbon exiting your injectors. It is a one-tank visual with nothing behind it. This matters because Seafoam through a vacuum line directly into the intake manifold is a genuinely different application with legitimate value. It contacts valve stems and combustion surfaces directly, but Seafoam poured into your fuel tank is a stabilizer being sold in the same aisle as fuel system cleaners. For stored equipment and boats, excellent. For a fuel-injected car engine with carbon buildup, it does not reach the deposits costing you performance. That one was disappointing. The next one is not just disappointing, it is the kind of product that Volkswagen, Ford, and Dodge all formally warned against in writing. MMT-based octane boosters, STP octane booster, Gumout octane booster. The reasoning behind buying these seems solid. Your engine knocks occasionally on regular fuel. Premium costs 40 cents more per gallon. A bottle of Octane Booster is $8 and claims to add 3 to 5 points. Simple math. Here's what the label does not mention. Most bottled octane boosters use MMT, methylcyclopentadienyl manganese tricarbonyl, a metallic compound whose combustion byproducts coat oxygen sensor elements in manganese oxide deposits and settle into the catalytic converter substrate. Ford documented catalyst failures in vehicles operated where MMT concentrations were elevated. A study on low-emissions vehicles found sustained MMT use caused 7 of 8 tested vehicles to exceed emissions certification thresholds over 100,000 miles. Most owners' manuals since 2000 explicitly warn against it. The actual octane increase delivered by one bottle in a 15-gallon tank is 0.3 to 0.7 points, not 3 to 5. To reach the advertised gain, you would need 5 to 10 bottles per fill-up. A new oxygen sensor runs $150 to $350. A catalytic converter runs $800 to $2,500. That is what this product risks for less than 1 octane point. If you need more octane than your local station provides, the correct answer is a concentrated race fuel ethanol additive like VP Power Boost, not a metallic compound your manufacturer specifically told you to avoid. The next product has a loyal following and a legitimate reputation in other categories. The fuel treatment formula is a different story entirely. Lucas Fuel Treatment. A 2019 Ford F-150 owner with 67,000 miles was getting rough idle and slightly reduced fuel economy. He bought Lucas Fuel Treatment based on the brand name alone, ran 3 consecutive bottles, and the idle problem did not improve. A shop eventually found injector deposits and quoted $389 for a professional cleaning. The Lucas had not touched them. That result is consistent with what the chemistry predicts. Lucas Fuel Treatment is primarily petroleum distillates and upper cylinder lubricant. In older carbureted engines, with metal components that benefit from lubrication, that formula has a legitimate use case. In a modern direct injection engine where fuel sprays at 3,000 pounds per square inch through a micron scale opening, a petroleum coating is a partial obstruction. Multiple independent analyses found the heavy petroleum carrier in Lucas can reduce effective fuel octane when mixed into a tank, meaning an engine already close to its knock threshold may run worse after treatment, not better. It contains no meaningful concentration of PEA chemistry. Remember what I said in the intro about the one chemical that actually dissolves hardened carbon? Lucas does not have it. The deposits hurting your engine are not soft varnish that petroleum distillates can handle. They are baked-on carbon that requires something completely different. The next one is the best-selling fuel additive in the country, and the gap between what it promises and what the chemistry delivers is something the industry has counted on you never looking into. STP Fuel Injector Cleaner. $5 to $8, available everywhere, and a lot of people who use it genuinely feel a difference afterward. That part is real. What is not real is the injector cleaning the label claims produced it. Automotive chemists place the active cleaning agent concentration in STP fuel injector cleaner at low single-digit percentages of the total formula. The rest is a kerosene-based carrier. Kerosene dissolves soft varnish from fuel lines and pickup screens at room temperature, which is why the car may feel marginally better after treatment. Inside a running engine at combustion temperatures, kerosene cannot dissolve the hardened carbon baked onto injector pintle tips. SAE journal testing documented 60 to 75% deposit reduction from PEA-based cleaners against 5 to 10% from kerosene solvent products on the same injectors. That is not a close result. You would need 6 to 8 bottles of STP to approach the cleaning power of 1 bottle of PEA chemistry. At that concentration of kerosene carrier, you are introducing more fuel dilution than cleaning benefit. The correct product costs $4 more and is sitting right next to it on the shelf. The last one on the avoid list has no chemistry at all. Just a magnet, a confident label, and $50 million in American retail sales. Fuel Shark and all magnetic fuel line devices. Fuel Shark, EcoGear, and every variation of magnetic clip that attaches to your fuel line make the same claim. Magnets align fuel molecules before combustion for better efficiency and improved fuel economy. Tens of millions of dollars in sales. Zero mechanism in physics that supports a single word of it. Gasoline molecules have no magnetic dipole. They cannot be influenced by an external magnetic field at any concentration or field strength any consumer device generates. This is not a contested point in chemistry. Every independent test conducted on every variant of magnetic fuel device has found results that fall entirely within normal test-to-test statistical variation. The devices produce no measurable effect on fuel economy, exhaust output, or engine performance. Not sometimes, not under specific conditions, never. People who report improvement are experiencing the documented placebo effect combined with normal fuel economy variation from temperature, traffic, and driving habits that happen to coincide with installation. This is the only product on this list that does not even have the wrong chemistry. It has no chemistry. Do not buy it. Now here are the 8 that actually do what the label promises. Counting down the same way. Sta-bil 360. Protection. For any engine that sits longer than 30 days between drives, Sta-bil 360 addresses is what nothing else in this category handles as completely. It stabilizes fuel against oxidation, coats metal fuel system components to prevent ethanol-accelerated corrosion during storage, and controls moisture. The standard Sta-bil formula manages fuel stability. The 360 version adds the corrosion protection layer that matters specifically because of ethanol chemistry in modern pump gas. Marine engines, motorcycles stored over winter, classic cars, generators, and seasonal equipment. 1 bottle treats up to 80 gallons, added at the last fill-up before any storage period longer than a month. The next one solves the problem that every product poured into a gas tank physically cannot reach. CRC GDI VD intake valve cleaner. Direct injection engines, the Ford EcoBoost, the Toyota 2.0-liter dynamic force, most modern turbocharged 4-cylinders cannot be cleaned by anything added to the fuel tank. In a GDI engine, fuel is injected downstream of the intake valves. The valves never see the fuel. Carbon accumulates on the valve stems and seats from recirculated crankcase vapors, and nothing dissolved in your gasoline will ever reach those surfaces. CRC GDI VD is applied through a vacuum line into the intake manifold while the engine runs. The formula contacts the back face of the intake valves directly, which is the only chemical method to address GDI deposits without removing the intake manifold. Independent testing documented visible carbon removal from valve stems in a single treatment. If you drive any direct injection engine, this product does something geometrically impossible for any tank additive to do. That distinction is not marketing, it is physics. The next one handles a completely different failure mode. Not carbon, not storage, water. Tron enzyme fuel treatment. E10 gasoline is 10% ethanol, and ethanol absorbs moisture from the air. When water content reaches saturation inside the tank, the ethanol-water mixture separates from the gasoline and settles as a corrosive layer at the tank bottom. That layer attacks the fuel pump, corrodes injectors, and causes hard starting and rough running. Phase separation is the leading cause of fuel system damage in vehicles driven less than once a week in all seasonal equipment. Tron's enzyme chemistry keeps water molecules dispersed throughout the fuel rather than allowing them to pool separately. It also prevents varnish formation and stabilizes fuel quality during infrequent use periods. It does not clean carbon deposits. That is not its function. For a vehicle that sits, a boat, a motorcycle, a lawn tractor, a truck used seasonally, or any car in a humid climate driven less than weekly, Tron prevents the specific damage category that carbon cleaners cannot fix after the fact. The next one is the only product on this list that handles 2 separate problems in a single bottle. Royal Purple Max Clean. Royal Purple Max Clean combines PEA-based carbon cleaning with a fuel stabilizer and a mild octane improver in one formula. The cleaning performance is legitimate. PEA is the chemistry I mentioned in the intro, the one that actually dissolves hardened carbon. The stabilizer chemistry prevents varnish and moisture damage during normal use between changes. The octane improvement is modest but real on engines that are sensitive to it. One bottle treats up to 20 gallons. For a driver who wants one maintenance product covering multiple functions on a single schedule, Max Clean earns its place. Use it every oil change interval. Here's where the numbers start to pull away from anything else on the retail shelf. Gumout Regane High Mileage Fuel System Cleaner, the most accessible PEA product at major retail. Gumout Regane High Mileage contains polyetheramine at a working concentration, which places it in a completely different category from anything in the avoid section regardless of price comparison. It is not as concentrated as the top 3 products below, but it delivers meaningful removal of soft to moderate carbon from injectors and combustion surfaces. It is available at every auto parts store, and the price makes it practical to use consistently rather than once in a crisis. A 2021 Honda Accord owner at 54,000 miles was reporting rough cold starts and a hesitation at light throttle. He ran 2 consecutive tanks of Gumout Regane, both symptoms resolved. The shop had quoted $310 for a fuel injector cleaning service. Total cost of the Gumout treatment, $22. For a daily driver using top-tier gasoline without significant deposit symptoms, Gumout Regane every 3rd or 4th tank maintains the system cleanly without premium product spending. The top 3 are where mechanics stop browsing the shelf and reach for something specific. Chevron Techron Concentrate Plus, the benchmark against which every other fuel additive is measured. Techron Concentrate Plus was the first commercial product built on polyetheramine chemistry, developed by Chevron in the 1980s specifically to address the carbon deposit problem. When emerging as fuel injection became the industry standard, PEA is the only cleaning compound with documented ability to dissolve hardened carbon inside a running engine at combustion temperatures, and Techron carries it at 10 to 20% of the total formula. Kia and Hyundai issued technical service bulletins officially recommending Techron Concentrate Plus as the approved fuel system cleaner when top-tier gasoline is unavailable. SAE Journal independent testing documents 60 to 75% deposit reduction from injectors after a single tank treatment. One bottle treats 15 to 20 gallons. Use it every 3,000 miles for maintenance or back-to-back tanks on an engine showing rough idle cold start issues or declining fuel economy. The next one has a higher PEA concentration than Techron, verified by gas chromatography, not a marketing claim. Redline SI-1 Complete Fuel System Cleaner. Multiple independent labs using gas chromatography and mass spectrometry have confirmed that Redline SI-1 contains a higher polyetheramine concentration than any other retail fuel additive currently on the market. That concentration difference matters specifically when a maintenance dose PEA product has already partially resolved the symptoms but not eliminated them. Redline SI-1 also cleans upstream of the injectors, the fuel pump, pressure regulator, and all fuel lines, in addition to injector tips and combustion chamber surfaces. For a GDI engine with rough, idle, cold start hesitation, or fuel trims running rich from deposit-related injector restriction, Redline SI-1 is the first chemical intervention to attempt before authorizing a $380 to $420 shop injector cleaning service. 1 bottle per tank for 2 consecutive tanks. Then evaluate against the symptoms before spending anything else. And here's the one the industry specifically keeps off the retail shelf. Stay with me, because this is what I said at the start you would not want to miss. BG44K Fuel System Cleaner. BG44K is not at AutoZone. It is not at Walmart. It is not at O'Reilly. It is sold exclusively through automotive shops and professional installers, and that distribution model is deliberate. Its PEA concentration and overall formula strength are calibrated for single heavy-duty treatments on engines with serious accumulated deposits, but quick is not for routine maintenance. It is too aggressive for regular use. That is not a flaw. It is the point. On engines where rough idle, failed emissions tests, or documented carbon-related performance loss have persisted through multiple Techron treatments, BG44K removes what lighter-duty PEA products cannot fully dissolve. BMW and Jaguar GDI owners on dedicated owner forums have documented resolution of injector-related rough idle after BG44K in cases where multiple consecutive bottles of Techron produced improvement but not a clean result. A single can runs $35 to $45 through a shop. You use it once to solve the problem. Then you maintain with Techron or Redline SY-1 every few thousand miles, so you never need BG44K again. One sentence before you walk into that aisle next time. If the label does not say polyetheramine or PEA, it is not a fuel system cleaner. It is a solvent, a stabilizer, a lubricant, or a magnet with a confident label. PEA is the one chemical I mentioned at the start that dissolves hardened carbon at engine operating temperatures. Everything else in that aisle without it is selling you something else. Now you know exactly what that something else is. Pick the product that matches your situation. Gumout for maintenance, Redline for existing symptoms, BG44K when nothing else has worked. Has a mechanic ever sold you a professional injector cleaning service without mentioning these products first? Drop it in the comments.